So welcome. So glad some of you guys are joining, whether that's live on Facebook, Periscope, and some of you guys are going to be catching a replay. I just want to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Joe Bullock, and I'm extremely passionate about equipping folks in the kingdom to catch their whole life. Everything from their mission to their mate. I equip you to live the life that you love so you can attract the love of your life and you can have a Christ-centered marriage. Listen, I'm an author, best-selling author of the book, The Biggest Lies Women Believe, about men dating themselves, discovering the truth to fabulous life and fabulous relationship. And lastly, I'm one of the founders of an organization called Detour Movement. We believe you renew your mind, you transform your entire life. So hey there, is it Brown Shagner? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you guys are jumping on the scope. So today I just wanted to share with you, how do you set relationship goals? How do you set relationship goals? And oh, by the way, is it even biblical to set relationship goals? So I want to go with the latter first. Hey, Sherry G, let's go with the latter first. Is it even biblical to set relationship goals? Like, there's sometimes going to be a little bit of controversy around that. But one thing I tell you guys, and some of you guys may have heard this before, but I do want to share also some biblical examples to show you how that works in terms of setting relationship goals. So the first thing I want to tell you is, if you have a desire, well, first, and that's already getting into the goal, which is going to be another scope. If you are single and dating, one of your first goals obviously should be marriage, right? If you guys can type on the screen for me. If you are single and dating, one of your goals should be marriage. I'm presuming that you're a believer that's watching the scope. Okay, Greg, I'm making an assumption that you're a believer watching the scope. And as that, well, I'm going to tell you, one of your first goals should be the desire to be married. Okay, and what I'll tell you is the word of God says very specifically, if you don't plan on being like Mother Teresa, then yes, go ahead. It's better to marry than to burn with passion. Go ahead and marry, because it's better if you do that. Although he wished that you would not and stay single, but if you're not going to stay single and be abstinent, then go ahead and get married. So indeed, God's desire for people who desire to be married, he wants to give that to you. That's biblical, right? That's what it says. Now, what I want to tell you is, now, is it biblical to set goals around that relationship, and how do you do that? Because I know I've seen people say, okay, I want to be married by the end of this year. I want to be married by a certain specific time, and what I want to say is that we do see biblical examples of people having relationship goals and pursuing those goals. I mean, I even think about, if we think about Jacob, he had Leah and Rachel. And you guys may be familiar with that. He had worked for his uncle for 7 years to marry. He wanted to marry Rachel, but Rachel was the older sister. So the father ended up tricking him, and he ended up marrying Leah first. And then he had to work another 7 years to marry Rachel. So it's clear that, even when he went with his uncle, his desire was to marry one of his daughters. So he clearly had a relationship goal. And so much so, he worked 7 years to get that wife that he desired, right? So he put in the work. He had to put in labor. He had to do his purpose. He had to serve and work first before that mate came to him. But even still then, he didn't get exactly what he wanted. But one thing I love about Jacob is, even though he didn't get what he wanted on the first time, yeah, he was wrong. He was so wrong, Liz. I can't believe, yeah, he did him wrong. I can't, but the thing that's so impressive about him is, even though he had to take that, he still was like, I'm not going to settle though. He's like, listen, I want what I want, and I'm not going to give it up, and I think this is important lessons too, as we talk about setting relationship goals. The thing is not so much about the time. You guys see, Jacob wasn't worrying about how much time. That dude had to work how many years, y'all? Hey, Catherine, how many years? Hey, Vanessa, if I didn't say hi already. How many years did this dude have to work? Can somebody type 14? To get what he wanted, he had to work 14 years. 14 years. So he wasn't as concerned with the amount of time that it was going to take as he was concerned with the end results. So that's one thing I want to tell you guys about setting relationship goals. You need to be more concerned with the time. You need to be more concerned with the end result of the relationship versus with the time that it takes. Okay? So I want to encourage you to be more concerned with what results am I going to get? Am I going to really, when I look at my standards, when I look at what I desire, am I lining those things up? And I'm going to be more concerned about making sure I get what I want and what I desire and what I feel like I need as a woman or a man of God, than being so caught up with how much time it's going to take to actually get there. Okay, so that's one example that we see. Hey, Chris, how are you? Where we see relationship goals being pursued, being set and pursued. Also, I'm always thinking about Queen Esther. you know, who was being considered to being a queen. Being more, yes, absolutely. You know, and the fact that she was being considered to be the queen is some intention there that's showing that she had a desire to do that. And there's no shame and no shade needs to be thrown for people that want to be married. I think where people go wrong is that they make that about their whole life. They allow their life to revolve around that. Honestly, I think the grievous mistakes that many singles make, including myself, is the lack of goals. Okay, you guys, can you type that? You need to be warning, be wary of the lack of goals. Be cautious about the lack of goals. It's not the relationship goals that get people in trouble. It's quite frankly the lack of relationship goals. Thank you, Chris, for sharing. I appreciate that. That gets people in trouble all the time. You know, how often do people go out with people? They don't have any standards written. They don't have any boundaries. You know what I'm saying? They don't set any bar. It's just like going out blind. And I like to say winging it all the time in terms of your dating, in terms of your relationship. And I say this again, for as many years I did that. And I didn't even realize that I didn't have goals around the man that I dated. I didn't have goals around what my expectations were in terms of the dating relationship. So I want you guys to know that yes, indeed, it's biblical and it's okay for you to have goals around your relationship. You don't put time restraints around that. That's what you don't want to do. Be a gold digger all day long. Be a gold digger all day long. Goal. For those that's on Facebook that can't see that. Goal. We want you to be a gold digger and have those goals in terms of your relationship. And also, we're going back to the Esther. Esther, she was in a season of preparation. She prepared herself physically. Hey, Top Secret Tea. She prepared herself physically, right? For what she had desired, and she had to go through all the proper protocol to prepare herself, right? And the thing too, her character was also, she was prepared physically in terms of character. I mean, there's so many different ways that she had prepared herself and pursued that desire to be married and to be queen in that sense. And lastly, I put here is when you think about Ruth, right? The daughter-in-law of Naomi, who had lost her husband. Now, quite frankly, Ruth did not really have a goal as much to be married. She just really wanted to serve her mother-in-law. But I believe even in that, one thing I want to tell you guys with relationship goals is just not the relationship goals with the opposite sex. Thank you guys for heartening it up with all the pink and brown hearts. I appreciate you. It's just not about the goals with the opposite sex. Understand you having healthy relationships with the mate or that man or woman in your life and having that as a healthy relationship begins with having healthy relationships in general, begins with having a healthy relationship with your parents, begins with having healthy relationships with your siblings. It begins with having other relationships, you know, and more importantly, this is really the bottom line. What I want to tell you is about having a good relationship with God. Right? Because the truth be told, once you get it right with God and your vertical relationship, right? The relationship between you and God is good. It makes it so much easier for all your other relationships to line up so much easier. Let me break that down for a moment. Okay. I tell you guys all the time, you guys, even though you're single, many of you guys, you are single, but you're married without a spouse. So you're already in a covenant relationship right now. Can you guys declare that? I'm already in a covenant relationship right now. I'm already in a covenant relationship right now. So you're already in a covenant relationship with God, right? So as this covenant relationship with God, you're submitting to him. And this, as you do that and you are able to submit to him, it's going to be so much easier to submit to somebody else. Let me see what Chris is saying. You're reminding me that I need to do my videos about the 4 things a man should be looking for in a future wife. Yes, Chris, do the video. Do the video. Men need that. Yes. So on Periscope, you guys, we got Chris Harris is saying that he's going to do a video for the men. So you guys on Periscope, you guys can follow Chris. He's going to be doing a Periscope on 4 things that men should be looking for in a future wife. Okay, I think that's going to be good. And I'm glad that he's coming out because we need more men voices. We need more men voices speaking to the men of God in this season. Truly believe that. I truly believe that. So good stuff, good stuff. Now going back to what I was saying, your relationship, your vertical relationship with God, right? As you are able to line that up, it's going to reflect on your horizontal relationship with other people. So if you're able to be committed to God, if you're able to submit to God, if you're able to be obedient to God, when it comes to your mate, it's going to be so much easier. And that's really true. And that's really true. And if you are doing the things that you're supposed to be doing and are acting in the character of God, you know what I'm saying, and allowing any spirits that's not of God to be delivered from you, then it's going to make it so much easier. It's going to make it so much easier. So also what I want to say is another way that you start to set those goals for your relationships is have a vision. You want to have a vision for your marriage. Yes. You want to have a vision for your marriage or for your mate. Let me even go there because you're not quite married yet. I get that. So many of you guys, right? So have a vision for what your mate should look like. And I don't want you to start with talking about he should be 6'3", 200 pounds. That's not what we're doing. I don't want you to say she needs to be fat up and whatever else and have a size C breast. We're not doing that. We're just not doing that. Hey, Morgan. Okay. When I want you to write a vision for your mate, is more than that. It's more than that. Okay. So that's a couple of things I just wanted to share with you. First, yes, it's definitely biblical to have relationship goals. You're not going to be concerned so much with the time as much you are with the end results, and be committed to not compromising, no matter how long it takes. But I'll tell you, the quicker you get into your position and your purpose that God has for your life, and the quicker you start to become into the woman that God's desire, or the man of God that you desire, the quicker that spouse or partner is going to come to you. But I'm telling you, once you start living the life you love, you ain't even going to be tripping though. You ain't even going to be tripping. And many of you guys aren't tripping, but I'm so glad you're here, because I do believe you have to be intentional, right? Can somebody type that? You guys have to be intentional and not just like willy-nilly out in these streets. And then when somebody do come, you all thrown off course because you haven't been preparing, and y'all don't want me to use I always use the example of the versions, right? With the oils, 5 was foolish and 5 was wise, right? And the 5 wise versions, had enough oil for their lamps, but the ones that were foolish did not have enough oil because oil was always available, that they were going to go back anytime they want to go get some oil for their lamps. But guess what? They ran out of time. And I don't want any of you guys to be getting caught in these streets where you meet an amazing person and you're not ready, because you're still trying to get you together. You're still trying to go through your healing. You're still trying to go through your deliverance. You're still trying to figure out who you are. And so now the man sees you and he sees your potential, but it has not been realized. I have neutral about it now. Been single for a while. Okay, so you're kind of neutral about it. Exactly. So you guys, we're actually going to be doing a goal setting workshop coming up. It's going to be on December 29th. I want you guys to mark your calendar, because we're going to be diving deep in setting relationship goals, setting life goals, right? To help prepare and position you to go through the rest of this year and really as you pivot into 2017. So I want you guys to mark your calendar. I'm going to have a page out for that soon so you can get more information. It's going to be a very low cost investment to join. There will be a cost, but it will be a cost probably less than $1 a day. But we'll have like a 2-hour workshop, and we'll give you all the tools and resources so you can implement that plan successfully, because we just don't want you to set a goal and not achieve it. We want you to set and achieve the goal. Again, I can tell you right now, if you're looking for somebody to tell you you're going to be married by the end of 2017, then this workshop is not for you. This workshop is not for you. But I'll tell you, it does not take God long to do whatever he's going to do in your life. You just have to yield to him and trust in him and believe that he ain't going to leave you hanging. Like he said, he got you. Morgan, you got to believe him. Liz, you got to believe him. Brittany, you got to believe him. All you guys just got to believe that what he said is true. All right, you guys. So I'm going to wrap up just summarizing the 3 things I just told you about the 3 folks in the Bible. We talked about Leah and Rachel, and we talked about how their husband had worked 14 years, 7 years each to get them, because that's what he desired. And he was pursuing that relationship goal, and he would not settle for less than he desired. Even though he had to, like his father-in-law kind of played him. But, he was like, still, I ain't going to still settle. I'm going to still work for I'm going to get mine. So I'm going to get exactly what I desire, and we see that again with Esther, hers being a little different, hers going through a season of preparation. She obviously had a high trust in God, because she wasn't relying on that. She wasn't relying on the king. She was relying on God, because she's like, listen, we about to shut this whole thing down. We about to fast for 3 days because these people are acting a plumb fool and they're trying to get to my people, and I am about to have it right now. So she still had that unwavering, unshakable faith and trust in God. Right? And that's one thing too, as you're preparing, you need to get to that place that I trust God is going to give me the desires of my heart. God is not going to start change me, because when you start believing that God's going to give you what you desire, you will not settle. Can somebody type that? When you believe God is going to give you exactly what you desire, you will not settle, because you be like, this ain't it. I ain't got time for that. You hear what I'm saying, Zebra? They be like, no, not today. And lastly, we talked about Ruth. And although she wasn't passionately pursuing and had an agenda, she was on purpose and she was pursuing her mission. So in that, she was able to align with God's best for her life, and God blessed her mightily for that. So God rewards you for your obedience. God rewards you for seeking him. When he says, seek ye the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all things will be added to you, he was not playing. He was so serious, and he's going to do exactly what he said he's going to do. So that's what I want to share with you guys. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your ears peeled. December 29th, we're going to have that goal setting workshop. More information is to come, and you will have a link to access that. So I just want to throw that out there. I will be back on tonight at 5:30 for a really short scope train with other scopers tonight. So, and I'll be sharing a couple of scopes as I find things that I think are going to be interesting to you guys. Facebook, this is really not for you because I can't share. We're not going to be on Facebook. So, at any rate, Facebook, I'm going to let you go. And I'll be back on Facebook tomorrow at 5:45 a.m. Be blessed, Facebook.